Hi everybody, I'm Michael. Today we're going to talk about how you can take care of the Furry Calathea. Now some people call her Calathea, I pronounce her Calathea. This is the Furry Calathea, and today we're going to show you how you can best grow her in your home. So, you ready to dig in? Let's grow! The Furry Calathea goes by the botanical name Calathea Rufibarba. She's native to Brazil, and she makes for quite the interesting house plant. I wouldn't say that she's low maintenance, but she's so exotic looking. One of the main features, one of the main characteristics of this plant are these beautifully long, wavy, lanceolate leaves that on the backside have this wonderful velvety, fuzzy texture to them. And we'll zoom in up with the side-by-side so you can see her up close. But I'm going to spin her around so you can see the backside in this wonderful burgundy color. And it's very, very velvety, all the way down the petioles, y'all here. And again, I'll show you a side-by-side here. They're super fuzzy. It's adorable. Even the top of the leaf has some tiny hairs that are growing on the leaf blade. But it's so, I mean, it just feels like, you know, like that Seinfeld, cashmere, George, cashmere. Feels like cashmere. So soft. It is one of the, we feel, I mean, it's one of the lower maintenance Calatheas. And definitely, you know, Calatheas in general, they're very exotic looking, but we find this one to be super exotic looking, very upright growth. And the other one that we absolutely love, and when we first started our channel, we did a video on her, and that's this puppy, this cutie pie. This is the network plant. This is a Calathea as well, and we've had great luck in growing her. This was actually a plant we purchased online, and she's just done super well. We'll give you a side-by-side of her as well, the network, because if you shine a light from behind here, you can maybe even see it here. These little compartmentalized cell structures are visible. She shows you how she's growing. It's such a cool plant. But these are in the same species. These are Calatheas. Super cool plants. The network, I would say, is probably the lowest maintenance of any of the Calatheas we've grown. For plant care, your fuzzy Calathea will want medium light, and that's between 500 and 1,000 foot candles. So they don't tend to like to be anything lower than the 500 foot candles we have found. They tend to not grow and get some stunted leaves, but they also don't want to be on the high light side either, because then the leaves can get scorched. Now for soil, we recommend that you use a potting mix, an indoor potting mix, but don't add perlite. Many of our videos, you may see that we asked that some folks incorporate some perlite. These plants like a little bit more wet, a little more moist, let me say, in their soil, so we don't recommend adding that extra perlite. We just recommend that you use a good indoor potting mix. We, of course, said it time and time again, we love the Miracle-Gro potting mix, but in what we also recommend for the soil for this particular plant is to add in the ratio of the indoor potting mix, 95% plus 5% of sphagnum moss spread out evenly within that mix. The sphagnum moss will help maintain a little bit more moisture, because these plants, now I'm going to rotate into watering, like to be watered every 7 days. So that sphagnum moss keeps that moisture content just about right, we found, for the plants, so that you don't have the plant dry out. Now that's going to be probably the main takeaway here, is you don't want this plant to dry out, but you also don't want it super soggy. So that's the Goldilocks you have to get. So that's why this is not a low maintenance plant, super exotic. The network, by contrast, doesn't have to have any of this type of soil babysitting, but this plant prefers that mix. So for humidity, that's another thing this plant, because it's from Brazil, it wants a little higher humidity. It's definitely not a fan of growing indoors, typically of a home with AC, because we're going to have humidity in the 30 to 40% range. This one's much higher, north of 50. So you can see actually some burn marks on our plant. We'll zoom in so you can see them up close. This is from not getting enough humidity. the edges will start to look like they're kind of scorched from the sun, but that's actually from not getting enough humidity. But when we did our plant hack, and I'll talk about that now, is we've started to notice all the new leaves don't tend to have any of those humidity issues. For the first probably 8 months when we had the plant, we didn't do anything. We just had her acclimating to a new location. But then we said, you know what? Let's incorporate some leca in the base of the container here. So we put leca down in there, and that is in just basically the runoff saucer from watering the plant. That leca is taking all that excess water when you water your plant. Another thing we want to recommend for you is to water well. Don't just water gingerly, water well so it goes and drains all the way through. Well, that excess water is going to go down into the leca here, and this container is a little bit wider than the grow pot, and that leca is going to off-gas that moisture. It's going to bring that moisture up to the plant so that it gives them a little bit more moisture. You can use a pebble tray, but this is a nice, decorative way to keep it all in one system, and we thought this was a real cool plant hack to use for your furry calathea. On pests, they are known to get, the mealybugs, scale, aphids. We haven't had that issue at all with our furry here. She's just so cute, you all. I can't tell you this. This is crazy when you see it from the light. We'll do some more side by side so you can see the furries coming off the petioles here too. Little furry hairs. Oh, such a cool plant. Really, really interesting. I would say between her and the network, I'm sorry, the network, I'm just such a fan of her. But she's a close second. You get a silver. She gets the silver. This is the gold. She's just the cat's meow. Just love her. But amazing species, right? This plant has amazing genus for this plant. It's just so highly varied. They do. You can see the one leaf per petiole. They do have that characteristic, but one's totally taken a different way of evolving versus the other. But such a wonderful plant. So what we'll do now is that we've talked about all these plant care instructions. We'll go into in-depth written care instructions so you get a summary of all this, and you can take a screenshot if you want and save that for maintaining your plant. Oh, before I do that, I have my scissors here somewhere. This is just an old leaf, and I'm just going to trim that off now. And they'll tend to have this little bit of yellowing. You can see here, the tip is brown. That's from lack of humidity. But the calatheas the lower leaves will tend to give you this look, and then you just sort of trim them off to maintain the plant. Here's another one that's old. We'll just trim her off. Let me rotate around so you can see. We're going to trim her, and there we go. Trim this further down so you don't have all these little petioles sticking off the side. Clean her up a little bit. Okay, so we'll rotate over into written care instructions and then come back and do a summary at the end. We want to thank you for joining us today, but if you have any thoughts or questions, just leave them in the comments section below, and I'll make sure I get back to you. So until the next video, bye!
If you found value in this video, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We post weekly. Thanks!